Hello and welcome back to my channel, Angelia Reads, and today I am coming at you with my mid-month wrap-up for the month of May, and this will be the 7 books that I read so far in May. Not as many as I wanted to get to, but that's completely fine. I am listening to audiobooks less now, and still busy with some unpacking, cleaning, just getting those final touches on my new house, and yeah. So that is a little bit why, but I'm still very happy with the 7 books and some good, really good, like 5 stars, and then some kind of iffy meh 2 stars. So just definitely starting off with some good ones. And the first one is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is a 5-star book. I really enjoyed her other books, but this one just is the best one so far, in my opinion. And this is about Alexis, and she is an ER doctor, and her father wants her to like continue on his legacy and be part of this like board and really, be, just basically just a doctor, not really have a life pretty much. And she is at a funeral in Iowa, and she swerves off the road to miss a raccoon, and she is stuck on the side of the road. And then she meets Daniel, and she's like, well, I'm waiting on the tow truck driver. It's fine. And then it's a small town, and he's like, well, he's at the bar. He'll probably be there for a couple hours. And so she goes to the bar and with Daniel and has a one-night stand with him, and things go from there. He has a baby goat, which is on the cover, and this is just a really adorable romance. Obviously, they, are two different people. She is like more of a city girl. He is like a country boy, is running a B&B, and yeah, so really good. I loved the audiobook and highly recommend this one. The next one is Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This is by Ashley Herring Blake, and I have not read any of her like YA middle grade books. I think is what she's mainly written before. I'm pretty positive this is her first adult romance novel. This is a part of a new series, and the second one is actually coming out this year. So that's really fun that we don't have to wait too long to get to the second one. And this one is about, obviously, Delilah and her sister Astrid is getting married, and asks her stepsister is asking her to be the photographer, but she doesn't want to go. It's also another like small town kind of romance. She doesn't really want to go because Astrid's like friend group was just never really like nice to her or anything, and she just not a fan of Astrid's friend group. But then she meets Claire, which is in the friend group. It's not really like a second chance romance because they never had a romance before, but they did know each other before in high school. And it is between Claire and Delilah, and this was a really, really good book. Claire is, I don't think she's ever married, but she is a single mom, going through those motions. And then Delilah is like an artist and wanting to be in New York, and artist photographer wanting to be in New York, and it kind of goes through them, trying to keep it quiet during the wedding preparation for Astrid, and also trying to work out their differences between like her wanting to be in New York and then obviously Claire having to stay in that small town. And it was really, really good. This was also a really good audiobook. And then the next 2 books I read for the Mafia Readathon, and I read I think it's a series. I don't think it's a duet. I think there's like a 3rd one coming out soon. And I read Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling. I will just talk about these 2 together because I don't want to really give away anything. But Mafia Mistress, I did give 4 stars. And Mafia Darling, I just gave 3 stars. I don't know. I just felt like I was reading, obviously, like duets or like reading books of series. It just felt like too long. It just dragged on a little bit too long for me, even though both of these books are about 250 pages each, I would say. And it is about Francesca, and she is 18, and her father is in the mafia, and promised her to another mafia's head, and promised to his son. So she gets kidnapped and taken and going to marry his son. And then he actually wants, instead, the dad actually wants her instead. And it basically just goes through that. And I don't know. I just didn't really, I was really liking the first book, and then the second book, I just felt like this could have been wrapped up like and put into one book, honestly, but that's just my opinion. And this, I don't read a lot of Mafia romances. I just decided to, you know, go ahead and participate in the readathon and give it a try. I do want to read more Mafia romances for sure, but I just didn't really love those two. But I definitely want to give Mafia romance another chance. And then I finally finished Inked in Lies by Gianna Darling, and I gave this a 3-star or 3.5 stars, and I still like Welcome to the Dark Side so much better. Inked in Lies just took me like so long to finish. I do not know why, but it was like that like slash middle, like to the end, like that little middle part. It was just like taking forever. I don't know. And then her books, kind of, to me, I've noticed that like some things repeat in them from the other person's perspective. And this is the 5th book, and I'm like, yep, we knew that from that book and that from that book. And I just don't really like how like they repeat like that, I guess. I do definitely want to read Dead Man Walking, I think is number 6 in preparation for the 7th one to come out. But yes, so far, Welcome to the Dark Side is still remaining into my number 1 top favorite. And then next I finished Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and this is like a YA like dystopian, I think, and it's kind of a little bit reminded me of like The Hunger Games and Divergent in one, maybe. I obviously am not like a major fantasy reader or dystopian reader or anything, but there is the Red Queen read along, and I decided to participate in this one. I gave it a 2.5. It is about Mare, and in this society, like, you have red bloods and silver bloods, and she's a red blood, but then she ends up, I think she's like maybe like a mix of red and silver or something, because she ends up going to the silver side and being with them and like fighting with the silver and different things like that. It was like it was a very long audiobook. It definitely took me quite a few days to finish it, but I do want to continue in the series, hoping that the next ones do get better. Yeah, there's just not much I can say about it, because honestly, for half the time I didn't even know what was going on. But like I said, it's not my typical genre. So if you love this book, you know, that is you. I just didn't really love this one. So, and then the last one here that I have, I can't believe I've already talked about all these. But the last one here that I have is Praise by Sarah Kate. And this is definitely one of my favorites for the month. I would say Praise, Part of Your World, and then Delilah Green. And this was so, so good. This takes place at Emerson. He is the owner of the Salacious Players Club, I believe. And this is a ex-boyfriend's dad trope. And she just broke up with Emerson's son, and she goes to him and she's like, hey, I really need my half of the security deposit. And he's like, well, it's at my dad's. You're just going to have to get it. I don't talk to him. You know that. And so she goes over there, and he mistakes her as his sub because he wanted like a new one hired for him. And yeah, it goes from there. It's really funny. And he eventually is like, I'm really sorry about that. I didn't know. And then he's like, well, I just lost my secretary. Will you be my secretary? And then further on, she ends up being his sexy secretary, and they go to the club together, and it is just such a good book. I cannot wait to read Eyes on Me. I'm sure you've heard of this book if you read romance, because it is all over, and it is definitely worth the hype. And that is my wrap up for the first half of the month. Let me know what is your favorite book so far this month, and definitely let me know if you have any romances that you think are worth the hype, like Praise, because I absolutely love that one, and I'm so happy that I'm reading some more indie romances. So have a great day or night whenever you're watching this. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!